My older brothers have always made my life a living hell. It was like they felt joy in making me suffer, and my parents never did anything to stop them. They shrugged it off as playful sibling rivalry. At first it started off small. My second oldest brother told me Santa wasn't real. It really hurt me, but I wish it would have just stopped there. A week after that, he just pushed me off the stairs. I'm not sure if he did it on purpose or not, because he seems as stunned as me. When I looked up, my parents scolded him, but like I said, they weren't any help. My third oldest brother once noticed I lost my first tooth. He took it and forced me to swallow it. I cried while he stood there laughing. From that point on, my siblings began physically abusing me more. My oldest brother once took a stuffed animal I got for my birthday, and he slit its throat in front of me. Before I could say anything, he pointed the knife at me and said, "If you tell this to anyone, I will do to you what I did to your stupid doll." I cried myself to sleep that night, and I was afraid to tell my parents anything. In another birthday of mine, I got a Wii. The next day, my youngest older brother took it and broke it with my dad's hammer right in front of me. He didn't even bother to take it for himself. He just broke it in front of me. That's how it went for every birthday of mine. Once my second youngest brother stole my ball, and my parents believed him when he said I gave it to him. One other birthday, my oldest brother burned a card game of mine in the backyard. My parents took his side, of course, and punished me. Once in our pool, my dad bought my youngest older brother was in it with me, and he suddenly grabbed me by the neck and started drowning me. He pulled my head back up every few seconds, but pushed it back in the water and drowned before, again, pulling my head up. They also called me terrible names that my third oldest brother made. He seemed proud of the names he made and that my brothers called me those. They only called me by my real name when others were around. Once my oldest brother took my hands with his and clenched them tight. It felt like my hands were getting crushed. It took a minute before he finally let go and left. One time we were playing hide and seek, and after hiding behind a tree for 30 minutes, I called out for them, but never got an answer. After roaming around for I don't know how long, I finally found my house, and they were all there. They just left me there. My house was basically a place where the strong preyed on the weak. After turning 18, I took my dad's car and drove away from home with some money I took. It was hard finding a place to live, and I was in and out of jail before finally finding a stable place. I didn't really do anything where someone got hurt. Years passed by, and I started getting happier. I found someone I love, and we're having a child on the way. I started talking to a therapist, and he's helpful, but not that much. He wasn't as therapeutic as I thought he would be, but he tired his best. Once when I was talking to my therapist and he was asking questions I didn't know the answers to, when he asked, "What reason do you think your brothers did that for?" And I shouted, "I don't have asterisk kino." I felt bad and apologized while he seemed understanding and kept a professional face and tone. Everything was fine until one night that changed my life forever. I was asleep when I suddenly woke up in a cell with no memory of how I got here. Outside the cell, I saw my brothers, all four of them, but they were tied up on operational beds. In the middle of them was a hooded figure with a mask on and a table with lots of tools. He grabbed a saw and started cutting open my oldest brother's stomach and grabbed a few organs, tossing them inside a trash bag. I thought for sure my brother would die, but he was alive. And screaming, the figure kept torturing him without anesthetics before grabbing the trash bag and dumping all my brother's organs inside him and stitching his stomach together, not sure how he survived all of that. The figure suddenly went to my youngest older brother and carefully took out his right eye. He suddenly took out a dental drill and put it inside his empty socket and turned it on. Blood splattered out while my youngest older brother began screaming and crying. After a few minutes, he pulled out the drill and carefully put his eye back in the socket. The strangest thing was that the eye started working perfect. The figure went to my third oldest brother and took out each and every single one of his teeth. After taking them all out, he forcefully made him swallow all the teeth at the same time, while my brother began chalking. After a few seconds, my brother opened his mouth to scream, and I saw he had all his teeth back. Finally, he went to my second oldest brother He also sawed his stomach open, but suddenly took out a few rats and tossed them inside the open stomach before stitching it shut while the rats rampaged in there. After half an hour of my brother's screaming and the rats loud chewing, the figure reopened the stomach, letting out all the rats, and restitching his stomach back open. After seeing my siblings get tortured for hours and hours, the figure suddenly came to me. He threw a knife at my arm before saying, "Sorry." I suddenly woke up, my wife in the bed with me. I thought it was all a dream before I looked at my arm. It was all cut open just like in the cell. I realized he stabbed me to make me realize everything I saw was real and not a dream. Months and months went by, and I saw my brothers getting tortured by this figure. They kept asking me for help, but the figure kept telling them he wouldn't free them, no matter how much I begged. Once I finally asked the figure, "Who are you?" He turned to me and came next to my cell. He took off the mask, revealing he wasn't even human. He had a slit for a mouth, reddish skin, and other details I don't even know how to explain. The figure told me, "I'm not from here. I'm from hell. I'm the devil's youngest son, but unlike my family, I didn't believe in doing evil, and they didn't like it." He sighed before looking down. My older siblings tormented me in hell every way they could, all the time, and I knew I had to escape. He turned his face back to me and said, "I remember finally escaping hell during your dark ages. I never felt so free, so happy. I knew the people wouldn't accept me, and I don't blame them. I've been trying to reach heaven ever since. I knew God would see I'm different than my family." He turned to my brothers and then to me, but I think I'm too far gone now. But I still have hope, but for now, I'll do this. I'm gonna avenge the ones like me. Then he turned and gave my oldest brother a lobotomy. I gotta say, that was very therapeutic.